everything you need to stay balanced on long trips. Residence Inn.
AIG has exit plans to repay the TARP money it borrowed from the government. Here to discuss this is Rob Cox, U.S. editor at Reuters Breaking News. Now, Rob, AIG's deal with the government, it's a good deal, I guess, for shareholders, including the Treasury, but what about taxpayers?
Well, I'm not sure it's a great deal. I mean, this is all about trying to simplify and clean up a whole series of bailouts that happened at different levels of the capital structure of AIG starting in September 2008. What you do have here is a sort of slightly cleaner break for the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. So they get out, and so now you have the Treasury essentially taking on some of that risk, converting some of its preferred stock, and coming in as a simple equity shareholder. Now, I say simple, they'll own 92% of this company, and they've essentially, taxpayers now are on the hook in a different way. They're still on the hook. The money doesn't change that much, except that some of the proceeds do help to pay off the Federal Reserve Bank of New York's stake. But you end up really with taxpayers owning 92% on the lower down the chain of the cascade of control of the company, the capital structure. So we've now traded a whole bunch of secured positions and preferred stock. I preferred because you get money before other shareholders for equity.
Right. So in the end, I guess by swapping the preferreds for common, you wind up diluting the shares for the common shareholders. And on the other hand, they get warrants. I get $45 a share.
Yeah, they're going to get warrants at $45 a share, which is out of the money at the moment, and maybe for some time. But presumably, when the calculus is when you've hit at 45 and you can exercise those warrants, the U.S. government will certainly have made a profit on its holdings by then, and will potentially have exited. But it's going to take time. 92% of a valuable big company is going to take a long time. If you look right now, the government is still having to slow down its sales of Citigroup stock because while it's still in the money, and that is, by the way, the analogy or the blueprint that they're probably following here is the Citigroup, where the government also converted from prefs to common shares. That's actually taking longer than anticipated. Okay. So if Citigroup's taking that much longer, you can bet that AIG is going to be a core holding of the United States Treasury portfolio of equities.
Well, if you're comparing to Citigroup then as the model then, what about the brain drain? Does this stem the brain drain? Employees within the
question is, I suppose, this is finance. So what will really, it'll depend on whether or not by converting to equity, common equity, you can actually start to get out of those Feinberg pay restrictions. I don't know the answer to that. It did happen in the case of Citi. So I imagine it's one of the great motivations for Chief Executive Ben Moshe to get out of this one, Bob Ben Moshe. But I don't know the answer to that, and it's at the end of the day, you still have the Treasury owning 92% of the company. So whether or not you're out of pay restrictions or not, there's going to be a certain amount of control exerted, I would have thought, at the board level.
And Rob, Treasury officials have told AIG they don't want hedge funds and some others to really get a bonanza out of this, including folks such as Hank Greenberg. How do you think Treasury will go about doing this?
Well, look, I mean, they've already diluted incredibly the shareholder base. They saved the company. I'm not even sure that there should be any shareholders in this company outside of the government until this thing has been cleaned up. I mean, essentially, the U.S. taxpayers own it. I don't think it's an unfair deal, in the sense that you are giving people a sort of clear roadmap for making money with the warrants. And if hedge funds make money, so what? As long as the U.S. government has gotten its money back plus, for the trouble it has taken, I'm not sure that it's that bad a deal.
And I guess, as you say, it does simplify the capital structure.
Yeah. And look, if it does that and the stock price goes up, everybody wins.
Everybody's happy. Thanks a lot, Rob.
But it might not.
Okay. We'll keep watching on that.